Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Furtado Experience, the experience that leaves you feeling more conscious, engaged, and fulfilled to magnify your impact on humanity. So, today is Monday Mantra, where I share my mantra of the week, and today it is be. I'm going to talk about being and actually have 5 tips for y'all on how to cultivate more being. So, let's backpedal a little bit. Being will fall into the conscious, like being more conscious, but it eventually leads you to being more engaged into your life and more fulfilled. It's kind of the crux to literally everything, because we are human beings. Yet we live our lives most of the time like human doings. We do a task, then we do another task, and then we think about doing another task. You can never be if you are thinking. And that's a big thing that I've learned, because I love to think. For so long, I've been thinking about being, and you cannot think about being. You have to just be. And it's incredibly challenging. How in the world do I actually just be? And I'll break it down a little bit in my tips and really share how I believe we can all be. We really can. And I think it's a really great point that we can start at and keep moving towards. But what I'm really talking about is this incessant thinking. Like even I, like as I'm cultivating more being, and I'm just a lot more aware and grounded and being, I still think. I still have these thoughts. Like last night, I'm brushing my teeth in bed, thinking about making this, this video, this content, this podcast, this YouTube episode, right? So I'm thinking about it. I wasn't being, the toothbrush, cleaning my teeth. Like I wasn't fully present with that. And it's really hard. I mean, and that's one of the things, you just kind of let go of perfection. Like that does not exist. Like it's, something that is a dance. It's a limbo. But being, and I want to define being and why it's so important. Being is just like, for me right now, it's not thinking about anything other than just creating this content right now in this moment for y'all. It's being when I'm cooking, I can listen to something, but it's only listening to something and cooking at the same time. When thoughts arise, you just have to let them come and go, because thoughts are going to arise. But if you start thinking, you're not going to be in that moment. If you start thinking, when you're watching TV, you're not going to be in that moment. And I've been doing this a lot, and I've been thinking about, think about being present. You cannot think about being present. So, with that, why it's so important, it's literally the crux to everything, and it's the productivity hack, because oftentimes we think we should be somewhere else. So, for example, I am someone that thinks, with my infancy stage of impact and my coaching business and all of these different things, like I think I should be somewhere else, and that takes me out of the moment and doesn't give me the ability to serve in this time, which this is the moment, this is the path, this is the way. So, let's go into the 5 different tips. And number 1 is to disidentify from your mind. This is the number 1 tip because it's so important. Your thoughts, those aren't you. Those are not you. They just come up. They're your story. They're things that you've heard in the news. Like all those little things, they're not you. And the more you can understand that, the more you're going to be able to be and just make fun of your thoughts. I make fun of my thoughts all the time now. I'm like, political Justin's going off again, right? Sports Justin, whoever is thinking up there, entrepreneur Justin, coach Justin, right? There's always things going on in your mind, and they're not you. So disidentify from your thoughts. Number 2 is you got to surrender to the moment. Just let it be. And I think this is a big one that I've had challenges with, especially recently moving to Los Angeles. Just surrender. Like, I'm here now. Like, that's it. And I did that this week, and I've just felt like a big breath of air. Just I let it all out. I'm here right now, and that's okay. Because you're gonna miss old times. You're gonna want certain things, but you have to let it go. And that's actually tip number 4. But tip number 3 is be patient, right? Be patient. This I've been working on really since middle of 2020, so about a year and a half. I've been intentionally trying to be And a lot of times I've been thinking about being, and I still think sometimes, right? I'm not perfect, and that's not my point of this, but I am being a lot more and just letting things go. So being patient, right? You're not going to be, your mind's not going to turn off like immediately, and it will probably never turn off. It's a dance again, but it's that disidentifying from the mind. It's surrendering to the moment, and it's being patient, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Number 4, let it go. Let it go of your expectations of what being is supposed to be, because if you think expectations for being, you're never going to be. You just have to let it go. Like, that's the thing. Being requires you to literally do nothing. Like, literally do nothing. And I know it's really hard because sometimes you're like, oh, I should be doing this, and I should be doing this. But that is the thinking mind, the ego, that wants you to do something else to pull you out of that present moment, right? Being is literally doing nothing. Let it all go. Let all your expectations go of where you should be in your career, of what you should be doing right now in this moment. Let it all go. All right, and number 5, don't be so serious. Just be. Literally be, right? Don't be so serious. Make fun of yourself. Make fun of what's going on in your head. Now, whoops, that fell off. A lot of times, being, for me, like a little bit, I had to kind of take a step back from some of my work and just be. Like, that's what I needed to do. And now I'm getting into my work. I'm being at the same time. Because you can still be a human, like, and be able to, go to work and kind of do your job and do your roles and all these different things. But you're more than that. It's more than that, right? So those are some thoughts that I have on being this week. I'd love to continue this conversation because it's fascinating. And this 7-minute video doesn't really go all the way into it. Recommending you read some of Eckhart Tolle's work. He's someone that's really helped me with being. There are other people that talk about being and are incredible. So I really appreciate y'all for listening to this, and please reach out. Please share this with a friend. Like, we need more human beings to be instead of think. I think we will actually end up having a lot more conversations with each other instead of being, hating each other so much, and just being a human. We are all human. That's the thing. We are all one. We are all human. And I know it sounds so la 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 la, but we're really being at the end of the day. We're all human beings. So thank you again for listening to this episode. Have a wonderful Monday. Have a wonderful week. Can't wait to come into your ears and eyes soon on Wednesday. Cheers, y'all.